the library without a word, and Takuma saw a woman in her 20s staring at them as they left. It was quite understandable knowing that he was speaking to the queen's page, but something meant more. He just didn't care because he was swimming in light euphoria and the knowledge of the stars. They walked the entire length of another gray marble corridor and ended at a sunlit atrium with gray marble columns and tall windows with gold sills. Other than that, there was a lengthy and tall grand white staircase. They stopped at its foot. Winzy, we have to go up that thing? Takuma asked. The woman went in her sleeve and pulled out a vial with clear liquid. She opened the cork and took a swallow and handed it to him. He hesitated to take it, but grabbed it and looked it over. Quilo biondi, to make the trip easier, she said. He took a swallow and handed the vial back, and before he knew it, they were well up the stairwell, and after a few moments they were abreast of the Queen's grand chamber. There were cornflower blue carvings in all the walls. Upon a closer look, there were snapshots of the various stories of the 6 gods, and in the center of the back wall sat the Queen, in her brown-skinned glory on a plush, blue-cushioned, gold-framed throne. Youth, Vuundi Itoriyama, come in, blessed eyes, the Queen said with her tight-toned arms spread open for a moment. Takuma thought about giving Kimum, but he thought it wasn't necessary here. Things just didn't seem that formal. He walked up to the throne, noticed just how huge the windows were because they looked over this grand shore of Bisrael. Jui, hello my lady, Takuma greeted. Ginny, Sivini Hiyoto. Yes, do you enjoy my palace, she asked. Ayo sorti, a grand bit, he responded. Jinyi, Chuiji, Yuti Noit? Yes, can I see your eyes, she asked. Takuma smiled and nodded and walked to her throne. Her scent was floral and linen, and it was intoxicating. She had to be in her 50s, but she was still very sensuous. She looked in his eyes as he leaned in close. She started nodding slowly and speaking to herself really softly. Takuma couldn't help but look into her own eyes, and he saw a deep lust in them in the moment, but it didn't bother him or register to anything. She stared into his eyes, nodding here and there for several moments, and then sat back in her throne, trying to catch her breath. Pulji, Sandui, you stay here, she said flatly. Oiji, Hoyenti, Digi, Josh? I would, but I have to find my friend Josh again, Takuma explained. It seemed as if she didn't hear a word he said. Ryoji, Nioti, Itoriyama. How did you get your Itoriyama exactly, she asked. Solui, Wintu, Solia. Trials, hard trials. Again she nodded as if she didn't hear a word. Quinzio, Nisli, Komi, Tulio. I have riches for all your desires, she stated, sweeping her arm to iterate the point. Guinto, Chino, Niotamal. I know, but I must remain poor, he said. Unichio, nonsense, she exclaimed, and Takuma nearly jumped out of his skin because at that exact moment she spoke, the sky cracked open above the ocean, out the window, and then black clouds rolled in like poured liquid onyx from all directions. The network sirens began to blare, and her tall guards in golden chest plates, women, came in and surrounded their queen. Niejie, Sotulu, guard the queen with your life, the head guard, he assumed, said. Suddenly, black specks flew down from the clouds, and they approached the cliff face with such speed that Takuma could quickly see that they were black armored-clad women with jetpacks or something like that. Rito, Sotulu, Gianoia, it's Queen Gianoia, the queen exclaimed. Poj? Who? Takuma asked, but just then one of the flying women broke in the chamber through the glass and landed feet away from the main guard. This woman was slim, yet fairly toned, and she wore a black jeweled crown on her head that shone in the shadows. She had black feathers in her eyebrows and eyelashes, and she had black lipstick on. But immediately she swung her sword staff and cut down all the gold-clad guards in one swing. Takuma ran to the queen of this beach, grabbed her, and teleported to a hallway just as Queen Gianoi's support squad arrived in the chamber with flames coming out from their jetpacks. In the hallway, they were greeted by more tall guards on their side, and then the ceiling above melted like lava, and Gianoia and a few of her soldiers dropped in and cut down guards while Takuma and the queen ran down the hallway and turned the corner. But Gianoa was already there and slashed at them, but Takuma teleported them away just by the skin of their teeth, and they were in a marble hallway overlooking the beach. And they ran towards some steel doors, and that's when he heard plopping of marble melting, and then Gianoa descended while slashing down. You need Valley Ior. Teleport to the vault, the queen demanded. Takuma did so and found himself in a vault stacked with gold coins and bricks, but couldn't move. The queen was on top of him, and she was paralyzing him somehow. She looked evil. Tiljui, Kilo Kil, Tikuli, Nitio, Nieto, Itarayama. By the power of the 6 gods, give me those Itarayama, she exclaimed and clawed at the young man's eyes. And then he saw the blade of the spear pierce through the queen's chest, and when she slumped down, he saw Queen Gianoa standing there holding the staff, breathing hard and looking concerned for Takuma. Takuma got from under the dead queen with a few runulets of blood blotting his cloak. He stood right in front of Gianoa and looked into her face with slight confusion. The feeling of that peace that mesmerized him was leaving, but it was being replaced by another, more natural peace in his chest and throat. He looked upon Queen Gianoa. Iepti, Jiri, Mintul, Yiniti Tikul. This is for the Father. One God, Queen Gianoa yelled with a fist upraised. Immediately, Takuma embraced and kissed the queen. The black ship was massive and sleek. It was in the harbor of a dock off the white sand beach. There was a stout tower near the aft, and amber and black glass windows all over it. Takuma and Gianoa walked up the gangplank and finally made their way to her cabinet. Iotil, Hinky? What will you drink? She asked as she went behind her bar. Me and who? Just water, Takuma answered. She quickly came back with 2 glasses of water and sat down like she needed to for a long time. Yitul, Didulo, Iotil, Gitru. It was all an accident. I didn't even know who you were, she said and laughed. Sirt, Sutulu, Jinio? Was the queen evil? He asked, still a little confused. Uyit, most definitely. Siyuti, Fikuik, Tikul, Gini. Besides, I'm fighting for God now, she stated. Takuma grunted and sipped his water. Wilitu, Josh? Did you meet Josh yet? He asked. Timihum? Wuntinit. I heard about him. He's powerful, she answered. Sijuti, Ayotuli, Yunudi, Hijum? Right. I'm trying to find him again, Takuma informed. There was an awkward silence, and it felt like Takuma would start sweating. He couldn't look at the queen and noticed she was looking at him easily. Miyuntiti, Takuma? Kunti? You gave me a really nice kiss. Ayotuli, Nifi, Hituri. I haven't been kissed like that in a long time, she informed. Ayotili, Nifu. I know who you are, he said. Itulu, Bri? Who am I? She asked, sincerely wondering. His heart was beating so fast. He had never spoken any words that were so close to his heart. He'd never had to say words so true and honest, and it all felt pure. Itium li mini sieduma. You are my holy mate, he said with his voice slightly shaking. She took a long while to answer, and he'd never felt a fear so unfair before. It was getting to the point where he had to try not to pass out. Hinjumi, uyetil mimu. I think you're right, she answered, looking at her nails playfully. She finally met his gaze, and they smiled together.